All right, let's dive right in. Today, we are breaking down Grant Cardone's The 10X Rule. Now, this is a framework built for one thing and one thing only: massive, absolutely life-altering success. If you've ever had that nagging feeling that you're capable of so much more, but you just can't seem to break through that invisible ceiling, well, you're going to want to stick around for this.
So, why do most goals fail? I mean, we all set them, right? We want to earn more money, get in better shape, build that dream business. But if we're being honest with ourselves, how often do we actually hit those targets? The book kicks off by tackling this exact question. And the answer is, well, the reasons we fail are actually way more predictable than you might think.
Okay, so what's the big problem here? According to Cardone, it's something he calls the average trap. Think about it. We're pretty much conditioned from day one to think in terms of what's realistic or normal, but it's that exact mindset, that playing it safe, that's the very thing holding us back from doing anything, truly exceptional. Cardone actually breaks this whole trap down into 4 big mistakes people make. First up, there's mistargeting. That's when you set your goals so low that they don't even inspire you to get out of bed. Second, underestimation. This is huge. It's totally misjudging the sheer amount of effort and resources you're going to need. Third, we get stuck on competition. We spend all our time just trying to compete with the guy next door instead of aiming to completely dominate our space. And finally, we underestimate adversity. We just don't prepare for the fact that, things are going to go wrong.
So, if that's the trap, how do we get out? Well, that brings us right to the core idea of this whole book, the 10X rule.
So what is the 10X rule? It's actually brilliantly simple, and it's got 2 key parts. Part 1, you set targets for yourself that are 10 times greater than what you think you can achieve. And part 2, this is absolutely the most important part, you take actions that are 10 times greater than what you think are necessary to get there. It's a total mindset shift, a complete overhaul of not just your goals, but your effort too. And you can see just how massive this shift in thinking is right here. Instead of saying, I want to earn $100,000, you say, I'm going to earn $1 million. Instead of, okay, I need to make 10 calls today, nope, you're making 100 calls. You stop thinking about just being comfortable, and you start thinking about creating a real legacy. And here's the kicker. Cardone's whole point is that even if you fall short of a crazy 10x goal, you're going to end up achieving way, way more than if you just hit your small, realistic one. This quote from Cardone really says it all. Multiply every expectation you have by 10, and you will probably be safe. See, this isn't just some rah-rah positive thinking thing. It's actually about being a realist, about practical planning. You just assume every single project is going to take 10 times more money, 10 times more time, and 10 times more energy than you originally thought. What that does is it builds in this massive buffer for all the stuff that's guaranteed to go wrong. The market changes, things break, plain old bad luck. Okay, so thinking big is great, but it's totally useless without action. And this is where things get really interesting. Cardone breaks down all human behavior into 4 different levels or degrees of action. And figuring out which one of these you operate in, that's the key to making this whole thing work. All right, so here they are, the 4 degrees. The first one is pretty obvious: doing nothing. You're just not doing anything. The second level is actually worse. It's retreating. This is when you're actively taking action in reverse because you're scared of failure. Then we get to level 3, normal action. This is where most people, most of society lives. And then there's the 4th level, the only one that creates 10x success, massive action. But wait a minute. Why is normal action the most dangerous level? That sounds kind of weird, right? It's because it's socially acceptable. Everybody's doing it. It leads to an average life, which feels safe and comfortable, but Cardone argues that this is an illusion. Average effort leaves you completely vulnerable. Think about it. When the economy takes a nosedive or some unexpected crisis hits, who gets wiped out first? The people taking normal action? Because they have no momentum, no buffer, no safety net. And that right there is why the only real answer is massive action. This is when you're operating at a level that other people think is completely unreasonable, maybe even a little insane. It's about being so active, so everywhere that you basically create your own economy. You create your own luck. This is the engine that drives a 10x life. Okay, so taking massive action sounds great, but you can't just run on willpower forever. To keep that up, you have to fundamentally change the way you think. So let's get into the kind of mindset that actually fuels this kind of relentless drive. Now, this is a total game changer. You have to stop thinking of success as something you just want, like a nice to have. Instead, you need to start treating it as your duty, your obligation, your responsibility to yourself, to your family, to your full potential. Because when something is a duty, you don't make excuses, right? You just find a way to get it done, period. And this leads to another crucial point. You have to assume control for everything. You can never, ever be a victim. Nothing happens to you, it happens because of you. Now, Cardone's example is pretty extreme. He says if you get rear-ended in traffic, it's because you were at that exact spot at that exact time. Now, that sounds crazy, but it's not about blame. It's about empowerment. A victim just complains, but an owner looks for a solution so it doesn't happen again. And this whole mindset is built on a few key traits. You got to have a can-do attitude. You got to believe deep down, I will figure it out no matter what. You have to learn to love challenges. You have to take risks and be a little bit unreasonable. You've got to commit over and over again habitually. Focus on the now, not yesterday or tomorrow, and always, always demonstrate courage. Basically, this is your mental toolkit for a 10x life. And here's another huge mental switch you have to make. Most of us, we treat fear like a stop sign, right? It tells us to turn back. But in the 10x world, fear is a green light. It's the signal that you're actually moving in the right direction. It means you're pushing past your comfort zone, and that's the only place where real growth can happen. Honestly, if you're not feeling at least a little bit scared, your goals probably aren't big enough.
So you're taking massive action. You've got this 10x mindset. Where does it all lead? What's the end game? Well, the ultimate goal isn't just success in the normal sense. No, it's something way, way bigger than that. The goal is omnipresence. I mean, the state of being everywhere at all times. The idea is to make your name, your brand, and your company so well known in your space that you are basically unavoidable. When people think about your industry, they have to think about you. You're just everywhere. And this quote nails why that's so important. Your only problem is obscurity, not talent. Think about that. It doesn't matter how good you are at what you do. You could be the best in the world, but if nobody knows you exist, it's completely worthless. Obscurity, just being unknown, that's the real enemy. Massive action is what gets you attention, and attention is the front door to every single opportunity you could ever want. Now, let's be real. When you start getting all that attention, something else is going to happen. You will get criticized. It's inevitable. People who are operating at those lower levels of action, they're going to try to pull you down. But you can't avoid it. In fact, you should welcome it. Cardone says that criticism isn't something to avoid. It's a sign that you are finally getting attention. It's proof that you're making waves big enough for people to actually notice. He even says criticism always, always comes before admiration. And that really brings us to the final essential question that this whole philosophy forces you to answer for yourself. You have two choices. The path of massive action guarantees you're going to face criticism. But the path of normal action, that one often leads to a lifetime of regret, of always wondering, what if? So, when you think about your own goals, your own life, your own potential, what are you going to choose? Criticism or regret?